everybody, this is Kohdok here. I know I haven't been too frequent on videos, and I admit that's because I've been saying a billion times a lot of stuff's been happening, but this time it's a bit more for real. I have been working on a Dino-Charge review, but it's been requiring a lot of shooting. It's going to require a ton of stupid special effects. It's got a really stupid costume in it, and combined with that, the fact that I'm moving to Delaware in like less than a week, and I haven't really had much time to work on videos, but I figured for now I could at least take the chance to tide you guys over with the Ptera-Zord. I managed to find this at Walmart recently. It's the new one, it's the Gold Ranger's Zord, and it's the first in Dino-Charge, the first solo Zord to be able to transform into its own Megazord. It's the English version of Ptera-Gordon, or Pteraiden-Oh, which is its Megazord form in Japanese. And one thing I have to note is that the Japanese versions of all these things are actually quite a bit larger. America gets a pretty severe downsizing on this. Like, you can tell the difference between the Japanese Zyudenchi I have here and the American Dino-Charge. You can see just how much bigger the Japanese one is here. But despite that, despite the downsizing and the usual loss of detail and stuff like that, it's still pretty big. This guy has a huge wingspan here. Again, I have my Dawn figure here. She's exactly 6 inches tall, so I use her for comparison. So this guy is at least got like a 14, 15-inch wingspan. So despite the downsize, it's far from disappointing. Slightly more disappointing, though, is the gold that they used for it. Unlike Buster Beat here, who has that rich orange gold, the one they used for the English version of Ptera-Gordon, the Ptera-Zord, instead has kind of this brassy gold here, which I don't think is quite as appealing. It also doesn't quite have as much detail in the paint, not as much flexibility, but that's done to make it cheaper. Like, it's $35 in the United States. The size is definitely not disappointing for a $35 figure, but in Japan, this thing is like $60 with a bigger size, a bit more articulation, and of course sound effects. But it's pretty good in the American version too. Like, I mean, you can see the waist here, although that's a problem with the Japanese too, but it's like got a perfect little grip here to grab to fly around. It's kind of fun like that. Like I said, it's huge, and the Dino-Charger still goes in all the way, and you can actually close his mouth over it, which is something you don't see in too many of the American ones, so it definitely gets some points there. It does have a lot of the flexibility where it counts, like with the transformation and stuff like that. This guy's pretty big on its own. The transformation's pretty straightforward. The back hips come off and go on there, legs transform. Arms are pretty straightforward, lower that, and it actually does have the closing visor there. So this is the Dino-Charge Megazord, as it's called, or as it's called in Japanese, Pteraiden-Oh. It's pretty straightforward. It's got a lot of the nice gimmicks that the Japanese one still has. It has the opening and closing visor. It's got the big blades here. It's got the little feature where the arm pops up into the shoulder to reveal the joint where the different Dino-Charge characters can go. And I knocked down Dawn. But it's got a lot of the fun stuff there. It still has a lot of the important things, although it lacks knee articulation, which is a bit of a point against it. Although the fact that it can close the visor is actually kind of fun, because if you close the visor and you take like a washcloth or something and you bring it over your shoulder and like shove it in the mouth here, you can actually turn it into evil Pteraiden-Oh, the evil Ptera-Zord that Fury is going to be using, or the Gold used in the Kyoryuger. It's kind of cool, although a couple of extra features that came with the American version. First off is this chest plate here. It's what it's wearing when it's in the box. I admit I doctored mine up a bit. It's what goes on the chest here while it's in the box. I doctored it to be all nice and cuddled like that, but it's kind of the first part I've seen like this, where in the instructions they actually kind of tell you to take it off and never mention it again. I think it's kind of cool to have like an alternate version where like the head is like folded down and stowed away. I think that's good. I doctored it up to make it look nice, kind of like how I doctored up this guy over here to make him look a whole lot more like the toy. It's a accurate toy to make it altered. But anyway, the other part are these cannons. They're like shoulder cannons that mount on the back here. And what they are is they're actually spring-loaded cannons which are activated by putting in the Dino-Charger, which form these shoulder cannons on them. I guess they were there. They weren't in the original Japanese one. I'm guessing they're there, so despite the lack of electronics, the Dino-Charge gimmick can at least have something. So I guess that's kind of cool. Having this extra feature here is pretty nice. And of course, it can combine with the Dino-Charge Megazord. I can show you that. Although maybe first I should show you what the Charger does. Yeah. It's a bit of a shame that the Dino-Charger here only works with the gun. The Dino-Charge Megazord doesn't have the feature. The Ptera-Zord doesn't have the feature. But yeah, it still works the same way. So yeah, the Charger still works. It's that clear type of Charger that you only really get with the sets there. There'll probably be a regular version coming out later, but it's pretty good. And if we change this guy back into his Pteranodon mode, which really doesn't take too much time at all, it's a bit like if he was a triple changer transformer combiner, well, double changer transformer combiner. It's kind of cool how it does it. I actually kind of find myself digging how these work. We can combine it with this guy here it's a pretty simple process. You just take off the helmet, take off the tail, and another thing that is unique to the American version is how the tail is connected onto the Ptera-Zord, because unlike the Japanese one, which actually uses the folded up tail, in the international version, it's unfolded when you attach it. And this is actually a change I kind of like. It actually gives it a bit more symmetry, like the wings going down into the tail rather than this big block at the end there. Now, it serves the purpose of actually holding it up while this giant thing is on its back. And then you take the Pteranodon head, close that, open that. There's a little thing in the top jaw where it clips on, and there it is, the Ultrazord, right there like that. Again, it's fairly impressively large, not bad for how much it costs. If you already have the Dino-Charge Megazord and that's been out for like half a year, you've already eaten half the cost of this combination. I mean, granted, all it does is give him wings, but that's actually not bad. That's a pretty tremendous advantage in battle. I mean, in the show, the first time this combination shows up, they use it to kick a monster through a freaking mountain. It's amazing. So yeah, he's pretty big. You can fly him around. I actually heard a big problem with the Japanese version of this toy is because the two of these are so huge and heavy and laden with all the extra electronics, they're constantly falling apart. I mean, this one falls apart if you shake it hard enough, but it's really not the same kind of problem. So, yeah, I mean, it's inferior to the Japanese version, but it's also like half the price of the Japanese version, so you kind of get what you pay for. Once the arm for this guy comes in the mail, I might do something with Beatbuster, but until then, it's more something to show off so that I can show you that I have been working on stuff, and I'm going to do a little more filming tomorrow, and I'll probably have something up after the move. Until then, this is Kohdok signing off.